Entryways can be a bit like a merry-go-round, can't they? I mean, they're different from the garage where things are often dropped and forgotten. Here, you clean it up when things start to get out of control. You do pick up the shoes and put them back on their rack or on their tray. You pick up stray mail, you bring it to the home office, maybe you have a command central on the kitchen counter. You'll clear the bench so someone can once again sit down and put on or take off their shoes. And when you're done, you stand back and think, wow, it's looking pretty good. And for a moment, it feels like you just won a prize or a victory because you have. So what is it that happens a few days later that all that order disappears? Well, it's probably because someone dropped a backpack in the middle of the floor and kept walking. Or maybe someone else walked in, kicked off their shoes somewhere, and kept walking. Maybe a permission slip you needed to sign is hidden somewhere under a random hoodie. Maybe your keys aren't where you left them because someone needed to move the car, and then apparently they don't seem to understand that where the home for those keys is where they need to go back to, or they're just too distracted to put them back. Is any of this sounding familiar? Here's the part that I really want you to think about. Your entryway isn't messy because your family's careless. It's not that they don't care. Or because your family, or maybe even one or two people, are easily distracted or not committed to living in an organized way. It's messy because it's the one spot in your house that gets used the most but doesn't feel like a room. So it has the fewest decisions made about it. It's like that trusty friend you sometimes take for granted, that you think they're always going to be there even though you neglect them. Every other room in your house feels like a room. So you have rules and decisions about what goes where, even if those too are applied inconsistently. But in the living room, the only place for the throw pillows is the sofa. On the coffee table is the basket with the remote controls. Next to the sofa is a table or a lamp or both. Likewise in the kitchen, right? Pots and pans have a home, maybe too many homes, but you wouldn't find one in the laundry room. It's the same thing with the bedroom. Sleeping pillows eventually get back on the bed, even if you were lounging with them watching TV earlier. But the entryway, it gets hit 5, 10, 15 times a day by everyone who comes and goes through it. And by the time anyone thinks to deal with it, more stuff is accumulated because someone's got a story about an Amazon return or a shopping bag on its way to the car or some clothes that'll be worn tomorrow. And while it may get extra messy at the beginning of a school year, it's not a calendar problem. It's not really about those book bags or backpacks at all. It's about the fact that nothing coming through the door or on its way in and out has ever been told where it lives. So myth number one is you need a bigger bench. You probably don't. I've seen and designed some gorgeous entryway systems, custom millwork, charming cubbies, beautiful hooks, matching baskets, everything coordinated that looks like an Architectural Digest spread. And they too get buried under a week. So a bigger piece of furniture doesn't create homes for things other than more butts. It just gives the chaos a larger place to land. The second myth is that the people you live with just need to care more. First of all, who are they? If you live alone, you're they. And if you live with other people, is it only them that are careless? Or does everyone move through that space and drop stuff, thinking they'll either deal with it the next time they're in the space, or it'll be gone, so why bother? We are definitely creatures of habit and likely doing exactly what everyone does with something that has no assigned home, putting it down wherever it's easiest or quickest. So your kid or your spouse or your roommate isn't defying a system if there's no system to defy. And the third myth is that it'll settle down once the routine kicks in. It won't, because a new schedule or routine isn't exactly the problem. A new time to leave the house or a new school or work supplies by themselves don't assign homes. Leaving the house 15 minutes earlier isn't going to solve the problem of where are my cleats. So to be clear, a new backpack, a new school year, a new pair of shoes isn't causing the chaos. None of those are going to clutter an entryway any more than any other item would when nothing in this space has a real home. These things will just be different stuff in the same random mess. So here is how you actually organize it. You don't start with new or more furniture, and you definitely do not start with a lecture about responsibility and team spirit. Scolding or shame never motivated anyone to do anything more than comply. And as soon as the pressure is off, things return to normal, even if normal is a hot mess. When I walk into my home, the first thing I do is open the bench, it's got an upholstered lid, and drop my keys in their dish, drop my money and my wallet in theirs, and then I close the lid. Those are the homes for those things. In other houses where I've lived, I've had a table or a shelf where those things went. Here, it's inside a bench. Then I take off my shoes, mostly flip-flops these days, and those sit either under or next to the bench. If I wore a coat, it gets hung up in the front hall closet. Likewise, a hat. It hangs on a hook inside that closet. Likewise, any bags. If a package, or really anything, needs to leave with me the next time I go outside, it lives right between the bench and the front door so I don't forget it. In other homes that had a larger entryway, I had a go basket, a large wicker basket that sat on the floor and was the home for anything that needed to leave with me. Now, you might think all that behavior is a routine, but it's all based on where things live. I didn't create the routine first, I established the homes first, and then built the routine around those decisions. So if you haven't made those kinds of decisions yet, starting by sorting like with like right there at the door is the best way to begin. Every shoe gets gathered into one spot, every bag into another. And if this is the home for incoming mail, figure that out too. What the home isn't is the top of the bench. That's the home for your butt when you need to or want to sit down. Otherwise, it stays clear of things. The tops of all furniture designed for sitting are not storage spaces. They're to be used by a human tushy, and that's it. Once you've sorted like with like, you can actually see what's living here. And now that you can see it, you can decide. Not later, when things are in motion, or when you got a kid standing there impatient to be driven to practice. Now and in advance, you decide. This is where the shoes go. This is where backpacks go. This is where mail goes. This is where sporting equipment goes. This is where inclement weather gear goes. Shopping bags, outerwear, whatever lives here now gets a home. You assign one home to each category of stuff. The key is to stop thinking in general terms and get specific. So it's not enough to say, well, the bags all live in that corner. We're not looking for a general vicinity. We're looking for an actual spot, the same one every time. Multiple bags get multiple hooks or bins. Once you know exactly what needs a home and how many there are, then you put up the hooks or get more hangers or another basket. That's the recipe. So given how many different configurations of space exist, I'm not going to walk you through how to specifically organize your entryway here. Just set a timer and follow the recipe I just laid out for you. And also, since I'm not a therapist, I can't advise you on how to get everyone in the house using the same homes without a fight every day. But I will tell you this. If the stuff belongs to someone other than you, their participation in naming the home, finding the home is essential. Otherwise, we're back to forced compliance. Now, for small kids, they can weigh in, but they probably don't need to be driving this process. Otherwise, rest assured that in very few cases is the mess by your door a parenting problem or a willpower problem. It's an unassigned home problem, and it is completely fixable. So, are you the kind of person who wants to do this kind of work by yourself and at your own pace, room by room? Or are you more likely to do it with other people coaching you, i.e. me, holding you accountable? If you're the first kind of person, my book, Unstuff Your Life, will walk you through exactly how to sort, decide, and assign real homes, entryway included. The link is below. If you are the second kind of person, and this is key, if you know you always get more done when someone's holding your hand and sometimes lovingly kicking your butt, then the De-Stress Your Mess Challenge is a great way to get your entryway sorted with me live. The link to that is below too. Either way, you'll start by setting a timer. 15 minutes is all you need, really. I am Andrew Mellen. The media calls me the most organized man in America. I've been helping people simplify their homes, their businesses, and their lives for over 30 years. If this resonated, please subscribe. I put out new content regularly. If you want to support the channel directly, please hit join for channel memberships to get priority access to new videos, and drop a super link if this helped you out. Now, again, you'll find De-Stress Your Mess and my book in the description. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.